Program Director here at Cancer Support Community South Bay. And again, I want to welcome you all to this week's workshop entitled Managing Stress Before It Manages You. If this is your first time joining us tonight, Cancer Support Community South Bay is a premier nonprofit organization providing emotional support, education, and hope for people affected by cancer and their loved ones here in the South Bay, Long Beach, and Orange County, all at no cost. And our programs include support groups, networking groups, healthy lifestyle classes, social activities, and educational programs just like this one. If you want to hear more about our services or join our community, we'd love to have you visit our website at cscsouthbay.org. And now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our workshop speaker. So Mary Welch is a mother, a wife, a double board certified oncology nurse practitioner at Long Beach Memorial Center. And she works in the Memorial Care Todd Cancer Institute. She's also a weight loss coach, a community educator, and a passionate advocate of eating and thinking smarter. Mary is convinced that a healthy life is within reach and is spreading the message that the fastest way to change your health is to change what's on your fork. After losing 80 pounds and witnessing the consequences of lifestyle diseases like diabetes, cancer, and dementia, Mary founded Weight Loss to Wellness to empower others to get started on their health journey. Mary especially enjoys guiding cancer survivors and healthcare professionals along the path to better health with one-on-one and group coaching. So please help me welcome Mary Welch. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, Nancy. And thank you to everyone for showing up. This topic was a really fun one for me to put together, and it relates a lot to my story of being overweight. So I will share that with you. And, you know, as Nancy said, I'm a nurse practitioner. I work full-time as an oncology nurse practitioner. My population is the gyn-onc population. I have a busy 14-year-old son who plays water polo. I have 3 dogs that love to go for walks and a cat. My husband's a high school history teacher, and you know, probably back in 2016 or so, it was a really stressful time. My mom was alive still, and she was dealing with dementia, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I had been a yo-yo dieter most of my life, and when you layered in being a mom of an elementary school student, working full-time, and then dealing with my mom's health issues and the uncertainty about her condition, it really pushed my stress level over the edge. And I would visit her at the memory care, and then on the way home, I'd be going through the drive-through, getting a chili cheese dog and an ice cream cone to almost stress eat, comfort eat, numb out. And before I knew it, I had ballooned up to the heaviest weight ever. And I realized after I, you know, knew I had to change, that I needed to find a way to manage stress. So I'm on a mission now to just raise awareness about how we can take simple steps to improve our health and lower stress. So, but my aha moment came back in September of 2018. I had been stuck for 2 years at my all-time high weight of 236 pounds. And I was at a lecture about cancer and obesity. And the speaker highlighted that the weight I was at quadrupled my risk of endometrial cancer. And I left there feeling hopeful that I could change and determined to figure out how to do it. And so I hired a coach. I had tried unsuccessfully for many, many times, and I felt like I just met the right person to help me. And I was guided down the scale back in 2018 and lost about 80 pounds and have kept it off. And it wasn't all about the food. A lot of what the coaching was is, what are you doing to take care of yourself? And I realized I was taking care of everybody else, and I wasn't taking care of myself. I really had no time for myself. I didn't prioritize the time for me. So my cortisol levels were very high. I was eating to just stay going. I was drinking coffee, Diet Coke, all these things that were just boosting my cortisol, but not giving me the help that I needed. So with that and some of the techniques I'll share, I was able to lose the weight and keep it off. So in this workshop, we're going to talk about what stress is and why it's so important to manage it, and then go over ways to reduce stress and cope with life, and talk about things like time management. That was very important for me to work on, and ways to relax. And then we'll do a short little meditation through the program to help that you could do at any time of day. I do want you to feel comfortable asking questions. I'll pause periodically as we go through the workshop, and you can put those questions in the chat and Rebecca will type in and let me know, or we can just wait till the end as well and open it up for questions and answers. But this is an interactive workshop, and hopefully you're somewhere comfortable and we'll be able to do some of the techniques as we go through as well. So the definition of stress is a physiological and psychological response to a perceived threat or challenge, which can manifest as feelings of anxiety, tension, or pressure. It can be caused by a variety of external or internal factors and can have both short-term and long-term effects on an individual's mental and physical health. So this is a pretty complex definition, but physiologic in your body, so your stress can be there, but also psychological response to a perceived threat. And I like that it's a perceived threat. So our brain can think something's a threat when it's really not, but we can turn that stress response on by just having thoughts that we think are a threat. And it can change things within our physiology and within our mind. And these things like anxiety, tension, and pressure are just some examples. And things can come from inside of us, or external circumstances can both cause stress, and these can have short-term and long-term effects. So it's important that we recognize this and know a little bit more about it, and can nip it in the bud if we do start having stress. So why is it important to manage stress? Well, chronic stress, and a lot of us live in a world of chronic stress, or they even call it toxic stress these days. It can have negative effects on our mental and physical health. And I know for sure my physical health was impacted. I had ballooned up to an all-time high weight, and I was isolating myself to some degree as well. It can lead to anxiety, depression, insomnia, and other mental health disorders. And it can contribute to health problems such as heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. And you can see how it would raise your blood pressure just by the nature of that. But the good news is stress management techniques can help reduce stress levels and alleviate many of these negative effects. So there is hope. And once we manage it, we can have a better quality of life. We can be more productive. We become more resilient, and we're able to manage with future stress better. So it's like you're building a muscle to manage stress as you go through this. So we all live in the world, so there's many causes of stress. Workplace stress is one common place for stress. It can be caused by a heavy workload, time pressures, a high pressure job. You can imagine working in the emergency room or the ICUs during COVID would have been a very stressful situation for people. If there's conflicts on the job, discrimination, harassment, having that conflict with your work-life imbalance, you're trying to be, I felt this sometimes, everything for your patients, and then also being there for your family and not missing any of your children's activities, and having that balance. Then you have personal stress, especially if you're also going through cancer treatment. There could be financial stressors, health stressors, responsibilities within the family. Life transitions can come up from retirement or being laid off. Personal habits like mine, poor diet, lack of exercise can cause stress as well. Oops. Other stressors could be environmental stressors. And we live in a pretty big city, so often things you can't control, like traffic or accidents, you want to get somewhere and you can't get there and you aren't sure when you'll get there, or just lots of crowds and people bumping into you, or extreme weather, too much hot, too much rain, or even overstimulation from technology or the media. Those are all forms of stress. And then there's relationship stress, which could be conflicts with partners, disagreements with family, jealousy if you're co-parenting with the ex-spouse or partner, socially isolating, dealing with bullying, or even language barriers. There's lots of different things that can come up. So as you can see, stress is prevalent. If we're a human on this planet, we're going to experience stress. There's no getting away from it. But how can we best manage it and live our life as stress-free and peaceful as possible? So we're going to talk about that. But first, the effects of stress. And I'm sure if you check in, you might even notice, I know for me, that clenched jaw or the tight shoulders, and it's like just lowering your shoulders and loosening up your jaw can help you relax. Noticing an increase in your heart rate or chest pain, feeling tired, trouble sleeping, or perhaps headaches, dizziness, shakiness. Some people, when they get stressed, can have digestive problems. Some people, when they're stressed out, feel like eating a lot. Others lose their appetite. I fell into the eating more category, and then a weaker immune system for sure. And the emotional effects of stress. This little picture just shows some pictures. Are you feeling agitated, hopeless, self-neglect, personality change, or withdrawal? And I think when I was feeling stressed out, self-neglect may have come up. I remember just wearing my hair in a ponytail. I cut it myself because I just didn't want to go somewhere and get a haircut. I wore it in a ponytail all the time, so it didn't really matter if it was straight or not. And I was dyeing it myself as well. So I was not taking care of myself. I wasn't prioritizing my self-care. I was just getting by. And at the time, I didn't even really realize it. But some of these emotional effects of stress can cause anxiety, worry, depression, sadness. There can be irritability and mood swings, feelings of anger and frustration, or overwhelm, or even helplessness. You might find when you're stressed out that it's hard to concentrate, focus, and almost impossible to make decisions. Your memory may not be very good. You may forget things. You may have a long list of to-dos, but no motivation to do them, and loss of interest in activities. There's an increased risk of substance abuse and addiction. Could be alcohol, overeating, changes in appetite, sleep disturbances. So the effects are broad and widespread. And then some of the behavioral effects of stress. The ongoing stress can lead to behaviors that try to get you out of that stress for a brief time. Things like drinking alcohol, tobacco, or other drugs are just a short-term remedy for stress. That isolation and withdrawal can come in, or procrastination or avoiding tasks to just lower the stress in the short term, but in the long term, that creates more stress because now you're behind and didn't get things done. There's definitely a decrease in performance and productivity, and you're more likely to take on risky behavior or impulsive behavior. You might be running at the last minute, so you're rushing when you're driving, more likely to take that yellow light or red light and make poor decisions. You may find you're hostile and snap at people, short with others, you're distracted, you're not interested in doing hobbies and activities you enjoy, and you may feel restless or fidgety as well. And these unhealthy management of stress, mentioned some already, but over drinking, gambling, over consuming food, and other compulsive behaviors like sex, shopping, incessant internet browsing, smoking, or using recreational drugs. These are all different outlets for unhealthy stress management. So what are some benefits to lowering stress? Well, as you get yourself into a relaxed state, your blood pressure can go down and your cortisol level drops, which helps your blood sugar level drop as well. You'll find you have more energy, sleep better, have a clearer brain, have more confidence in general, your immune system improves, and you can lower cancer risk as well because you're getting a healthy sleep, you're lowering inflammatory markers, and all those things help decrease cancer risk. So we'll take a little pause. Are there any questions or comments at this point? Otherwise, we could keep going and
if anyone
answer
has
some
any
at the
questions,
end.
feel free to ask, but there are none in the chat right now.
Okay, great. Well, now we're moving on to some of the techniques. So we've identified what stress is, some of the adverse effects of it, how we come upon stress, just being humans living on this planet. So now we'll talk about some techniques to manage stress. And here's a list, and we'll go deeper into all of these. Time management, relaxation techniques, exercise, healthy eating habits, positive thinking, and social support. And the good news is a lot of these techniques and ways to manage stress are available through different various programs through the cancer support community. So I would definitely encourage you to check out their calendar and see what might work for your schedule. Time management was huge for me, and I think it's very easy to waste time. And one good way to figure out where your time is going is to do a time audit. There's a saying that we all have the same 24 hours in the day. And if you look at some people, they're super productive and get a lot done. And other times, you know, in reflection, I'm like, I didn't get as much done, or I know there's more that I could do. So start by knowing how you spend your time. And you might want to just record in 15-minute intervals for a few days or a week, and then evaluate where your time's going. First of all, did you accomplish all that you needed to do? And then you'll get an idea of what tasks you did that required most of your time. You may also find out what time of day were you the most productive. I know for me, I'm an early morning person. Like if I'm up at 4:30 or 5, that's great. I get a lot done. If I try to do things at the end of the day, like after working all day, it looks good on paper, but I know that that is not going to happen because I'm already pretty tired, and it's going to take me a lot longer than if I just got up early and did it when I had the most energy. Where is most of your time devoted? Are you spending most of it at work? Are you spending it with your family? Is it personal? Is it recreation? And then did you find wasted time or room for improvement? And that wasted time's tricky. You may think, oh, I'm so busy, but oh, I picked up my phone and I was scrolling social media for 15 minutes or a half hour. I believe there's some studies out there that show the average person may be on their phone over 4 hours a day. So think of that over a year, it adds up. So this is an oldie but goodie. This is a time management matrix from Covey, Merrill, and Merrill from 1994. But you can create this by making 4 boxes, and the categories are urgent and non-urgent around the top, and then important, not important along the bottom. So then the things you want to do first would be the urgent, important stuff. So that would be things like picking your child up from school or calling a plumber to fix a leaking toilet. So those are things you need to do right away. Important but not urgent, you can defer these until all your urgent tasks are done. So perhaps things like scheduling a dentist appointment or planning a family reunion. They don't have to happen today, but they can happen at some point. Then the urgent, not important, these are things that you could delegate, things that other people could do, like pulling weeds or even making dinner for the family or helping with homework. If you're really pressed for time, you could get a tutor, you could order some meal service or pull weeds, get someone else to do that, or trade services. And then the not urgent, not important, these are things that you might be able to delete. So some of the time wasters might be responding to social media comments, online shopping or binge watching series on Netflix or that. So if you're spending a lot of time in the not urgent, not important, and most of your tasks are there, prioritizing and making sure you're doing the things that are in the urgent, important box first will really help you get things done. So using a planning tool can help, and reviewing it daily. Our planners are only as good as how often we look at them. And I fall into this at work sometimes. We have our Outlook calendars, and if I don't look at it, I'm like, oh, there's a meeting. Oh, I'm like, I didn't look at my calendar today. So it's on there, but if I don't look at it, it's not very helpful. So reviewing that calendar, and whether it's a paper planner, an electronic app, a phone app, or a wall chart, and then writing down your tasks and items to remember. So I love lists. And once you write it down, it sort of frees up your brain space and your mind so that you're able to prioritize events and you don't have to worry about forgetting it. And it can prevent you from spinning. And sometimes if you find you're having trouble going to sleep because you're thinking of all the things you need to do, just having a notepad by the bed can be super helpful, and just write down everything in your brain, like a 2 or 3 minute brain dump. And then it's on the paper, you can sleep, and then you can prioritize it the next day. Getting organized can really help as well. Disorganization can lead to poor time management. And what do I mean by disorganization? Well, if you have a lot of clutter or you have a lot of different papers, for you to find something that you really need, it may be mixed in with all this stuff you don't need. So you're spending time looking for things, you misplace things. So one of the goals would be to decrease clutter and to Marie Kondo your space. And think about, do things bring you joy or not? And the 3-box method really helps. If you go either room by room or drawer by drawer and have several baskets, one would be the basket of stuff you keep, one you give away, and the other one would be tossing or throwing in the trash. And that can help you streamline your world and make you feel more in the flow with things. And then scheduling appropriately can really help. So if you build in time for things you want to do, then everything else can build in around that. And that's one thing I learned that I needed to do, that if I waited to exercise or go do yoga or go schedule a sauna, it wasn't going to happen with the free time. But if I put it on the calendar and build everything else around, it would work. And it also let my husband know that, okay, I have this thing blocked out. So we were able to figure out our schedules. So building in time for things you want to do that promote your relaxation and self-care. Plan the most challenging tasks for when you have the most energy. Again, you're going to be more efficient. So if you're going through treatment or chemotherapy and you know that you have the most energy first thing in the morning and you start to wear out by the end of the day, you're going to want to do things that require mental sharpness in the morning. So let's say you're balancing your checkbook or paying bills, you want to be sharper for that. And later in the day when you have less energy, that may be the time you're folding clothes, or you can sit down and just do things that don't require a lot of bandwidth. And blocking out that time for the high priority activities first, and that protects your time. So if you know you want to get together with friends, get that on the calendar so that it happens. There's that saying, if it's to be, it's up to me. So really think about the things you want to do and make them happen, and then build everything else around that. Even looking at that cancer support community calendar, what events look good to you? Is there a yoga class? Is there a sound bath class? Is there a workshop that you want to do? Get that on the calendar and then build everything else around. And it's okay to say no to things too, so that you avoid overscheduling and people pleasing. Someone said no is a complete sentence. And even being ready to say, thank you for thinking of me, but I'll pass, or let me check my calendar and get back to you, so that you're not automatically saying yes to everything. Really consider your time and think about if it's going to add value to you and enhance your life. Another really underused time management skill is delegation, getting help from others. And I see this a lot with patients that, I'm taking care of that are going on chemotherapy. They have many friends that want to help, and often they're reluctant to ask for help. And in my experience, people really want to help and often don't know what to do to help. So if you ask, they're very happy to assist. So it could be from getting help with meal prep, getting help with housework, help with gardening. Maybe someone can bring out your trash cans or bring them in for you, ordering groceries online and having them delivered. Or if you are running around with childcare or carpooling, maybe you can trade and divide and conquer with a friend or neighbor. Same with pet care or walking the dog. So delegating, getting help from others, asking for what you need. And then for me, stop procrastinating. It's amazing how you tend to use the amount of time you have, and you could spend a lot of time thinking about it. And then once you get started, it can get done. So sometimes just breaking things into the first 1 or 2 steps you need to get started. And once you get started, then you can just keep going. And this can work for exercise as well. If you're like, oh, exercise is so hard, but if the first step is I'm just putting my walking shoes on and I'm going outside, then say you're doing that for 5 minutes. But once you get going, you're like, oh, maybe 10, 15, 20. And next thing you know, you've gone for a good walk. And once you're in action, it's easier to stay in action. So don't overthink things. Really, once you've prioritized your important, urgent things, just start doing them. And as you get them going, you're going to feel better and better about stuff. And manage time wasters. This is a big one. Too much screen time, social media. And it's really easy to get interrupted. You might be on your computer and a notification comes up, and next thing you know, you're on Facebook or looking at things and you forgot what you were doing, or an email notification pops up or a news story pops up and you're totally off in another direction. Then it takes more time to get back on task. Also, the amount of emails people get, and you may have an inbox that's very full of a lot of junk mail or things you subscribed for a long time ago, but it may make it harder for you to see the messages that are important. So taking time to unsubscribe from things you don't really read and cleaning up your email can help. A lot of us think we can really multitask and get stuff done, but studies have shown that it really doesn't save time and that we often lose time switching between tasks. So committing to starting a task and working it through without distractions can really help you get things actually complete. Instead of working on 3 things and finishing nothing, you can start something and take it through and then start the next task. And then you're gonna have more energy, more focus, and probably get everything done faster. And staying healthy, rewarding yourself for when things get done. So celebrate yourself. Even at the end of the day, reflect back about how much you got done, and be sure to schedule downtime so that you have time to relax and recharge. Could be going for that walk, watching that movie, calling a friend, doing things that make you feel good. So we'll talk about some of the relaxation techniques to reduce stress. And like I said, we're lucky that a lot of these are available through the cancer support community. Breath focus is really good, and we'll do a little example in a minute. This is where you just focus on your breath by taking long, slow, deep breaths, and you try to disengage your mind from distracting thoughts and sensations. And it just brings you into the now, and it helps lower your blood pressure and just calms you down. So you can do this any time of day, and it only takes a minute or 2. So why don't we try that, and then we'll go through the others. You can even incorporate this with the body scan. I like that as well. With the body scan, you're doing deep breathing followed by sort of progressive muscle relaxation. And for me, I like to start at my feet and just kind of tense them up and then relax, going from my feet through my knees and up and through my shoulders and head. And it doesn't take long. This is a good one to do in bed when you're trying to get to sleep, to just get into a very relaxed state. But let's try the breathing. So let's pause for now and just take a deep breath. Place your feet flat on the floor and really feel your feet in contact with the ground underneath you. So I'll give you a minute to just get settled. Now place your hands on your stomach, and you want to take 2 to 3 big deep breaths and notice your stomach rising and falling with each breath. So we're just going to breathe in and out. And when you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Unless you're driving, then don't close your eyes. Now, as you keep breathing deeply into your stomach, I'd like you to breathe in for a count of 5. This is called sort of block breathing. You're going to breathe in for a count of 5, hold your breath for a count of 5, breathe out slowly for a count of 5, and then pause for a count of 5. And we'll do that for about a minute. So we'll get started. So you just want to breathe in for a count of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold that for 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then breathe out for a count of 5. And then pause for a count of 5. And let's repeat that a few times. Ready? Let's go. Okay, so you get the idea. So I'd like you to now slowly bring your attention back, open your eyes, and notice what you feel. How are you feeling? Do you feel more relaxed? You can see how this can really check you out of a stressful situation. I think even just closing your eyes can be very helpful. We spend a lot of time looking at screens and our eyes get quite fatigued. So just taking that 2-minute break can lower your blood pressure and help you be more focused as you go out through your day. The guided imagery is another technique. You can use pictures or soothing scenes to help you relax and focus, or you can just pick a scene in your mind and picture yourself on a beach or in a mountain or whatever sounds relaxing and peaceful to you. There's also free apps and recordings available. You can YouTube guided imagery or mindful meditation and get a whole lot of wonderful video meditation things or gentle music that can really help with mindfulness. The mindfulness meditation, you're going to sit comfortably, focus on the breath, and bring just your mind to the present without drifting into the past, future, or present. And I listened to Brendon Burchard. He's written lots of books about high performance, and he does a release meditation, and he just says the word over and over, like release, 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 to release tension and keep his mind from going all over the place. So just slowing down and focusing on letting go can really help you relax. And that many of the things like yoga, Tai Chi, and Qigong are available through the cancer support community. And these practices all work on breath, postures, flowing movements that all help with relaxation. And even repetitive prayer can help with relaxation. Silently repeating a short prayer or a phrase of prayer while breathing can help. Even something like praying the rosary, it's almost a form of meditation if that's a practice you follow. So those are 6 techniques, and you may find one works. It doesn't take a lot of time. You can do it in a minute or 2. Some people even practice this before they get out of the car when they're going home to sort of transition from being at work and then going into home and switching roles and letting the workday kind of shake off you, and now you're going into your family and just leaving everything at work behind and coming home truly present to be with your family and those you care about. Another great way to lower stress is to exercise. And again, lots of really great classes at the cancer support community, both virtually and in person. But stress can raise our cortisol levels, and exercise is a great antidote. It can lower our stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol, and it allows that relaxed feeling. It also can stimulate the production of endorphins, or feel-good hormones, that are our body's natural painkiller and mood elevators. So often when people are feeling depressed or a little down, getting out and moving, getting outside into the sunshine can do a lot to boost the mood. Not only the movement, but a little vitamin D. And then just once you're out looking, you hear the birds, you see flowers, it can be quite a mood elevator. The other benefits of exercise are some of the positive impacts. After you exercise for a bit, you may notice you're losing inches or gaining strength. Your stamina is getting better. Perhaps you're only able to walk down the block a few houses. As you keep at it, you're able to go farther. You can make it around the block. Things are toning up. You're feeling stronger. Your self-image improves. That self-discipline leads to self-control and even pride and increased confidence. You have more energy and more vigor as well. The exercise also gives you an opportunity to get away from it all. It may be a break from work. It allows you to go outside and have some solitude walking in nature, or maybe you're doing a group exercise class and meeting friends. And look at kids, when it's recess, they're so happy to run out and play. For us, I think we should look at exercise as play and recreation. When our body is busy, our mind will be distracted from the worries of daily life, and we'll be able to have more creativity and think freely. I know some of my best ideas and things come when I'm on a walk or not really trying. So often, if you have a lot of things you're working on, going for a walk, the answers may come to you just while you're out there moving your body. So regular exercise will help lower your blood pressure, improve cholesterol, and lower blood sugar. As you're moving your big muscles, the muscles use up glucose, and then that's how it lowers your blood sugar. It can lower the risk for heart attack, stroke, diabetes, colon and breast cancer. Weight-bearing exercise helps decrease osteoporosis and fracture risk, helps lower obesity, depression, and even dementia. So exercise can slow down the aging process, give us more energy and prolong life. And you don't have to do much, just fitting in 10 or 15-minute chunks in the day so that it fits into your schedule. And then aiming to move about 30 minutes most days. And adding a little strength training or stretching 2 to 3 times a week can really round that out. What we eat can also lower stress and anxiety. Foods that are promoted on the Mediterranean diet are the same foods that are good to eat when you're stressed. These foods include things like fish, poultry, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats. The best way to lower cortisol in the body is to focus on an anti-inflammatory diet. This generally is less processed food and more whole foods, and we'll go into that in a little more detail. Foods high in B vitamins can lower stress and anxiety. These are things like beef, chicken, eggs, nutritional yeast, fortified cereals, and organ meat. Also, foods high in omega-3 fatty acids. So a lot of the smaller fish like anchovies, avocados, chia seeds, flax seeds, herring, mackerel, olive oil, oysters, salmon, sardines, tuna, and walnuts are all good examples. Magnesium-rich foods like avocado, banana, broccoli, dark chocolate, pumpkin seeds, and spinach are all rich in magnesium. Protein-rich foods like almonds, eggs, chicken, lean beef, lentils, quinoa, turkey, and shrimp are all very good and high in protein. And then the gut-healthy foods, Greek yogurt, kefir, kimchi, kombucha, and sauerkraut all help round out this diet that would help lower stress and anxiety. And the foods we tend to, at least when I was stressed out, I was eating lots of caffeine, high sugar foods, lots of simple carbs and soda. So the opposite. So that diet really increases stress. So alcohol, caffeine, high sugar foods, things like cakes, pastries, and sodas can all be a stress on the body. It can spike the blood sugar and make the cortisol level worse. So this little graphic was in the Harvard Health newsletter, and I like it. It's just a quick and easy picture guide of foods that help fight inflammation. Chronic inflammation has been linked to cancer, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, depression, and Alzheimer's. So by eating well, you can fight inflammation. So a lot of the things like tomatoes, fruits, healthy nuts, fatty fish, leafy greens, and olive oil are all quite good for you. When you look at the bottom, you see a lot of those inflammation foods, fried foods, sodas, refined carbs, lard, and processed meats. So me going through the drive-thru, getting a chili cheese dog and a ice cream cone was probably not the best thing for my body. So positive thinking and stress. So this is a big thing, and I think our brain is a very powerful thing. And what did I hear? 88% of our thoughts and things are subconscious. We only use about 12% of our brain actively, and a lot of the other stuff is subconscious. So we can have a whole program running in our brain that's criticizing us and providing things. So tapping into that and noticing your self-talking words can really help you manage stress as well. Are you a glass half empty or half full person? And someone posted something and it said, forgetting the glass is actually refillable. So I thought that was funny. I saw that recently. Are you an optimist or a pessimist? Do you expect the best of people or are you expecting the worst? These things can impact. The benefits of positive thinking or optimism, generally it's shown to improve lifespan, lower depression, lower cortisol, lower levels of distress and pain. And it provides a greater resistance to illness, improved coping in times of stress. And in situations, you can look for the good or look for the bad. And in my experience with patients, you can often see it where some people come in with quite a lot of anger about what they're going through, and others can find the positive side, like all the cancer blessings that they've seen. And it could be from friends that have reached out or things that they wouldn't have experienced had they not had cancer. So everyone's experience is different, but where we focus our energy and thoughts, our energy flows there. So if you notice there's a lot of negativity there, you may want to pause and shift and try to shift it to something more positive. Identifying negative thinking. Again, our brain likes to do this. If you notice you're saying should a lot, like shoulding yourself, I should do this, I should do that, I should have done this. I think ifs and really spending a lot of time in the past and blaming yourself is not going to do anything about your current situation. It's just going to make you feel bad. So letting some of that go. Or another thing people may do is magnifying, making a big deal out of minor problems, and even using big language for things that are not so significant. So just being careful with your words. Perfectionism can be something that leads to negative thinking because it's impossible standards that you'll never meet. And then really being polarizing. Things are either good or bad, black or white. There's no middle ground. That can also lead to a lot of negative thinking as well. Filtering is another way of magnifying the negative aspects of the situation, and you filter out all the positives. So, one thing might be, let's say COVID, and it's like, oh my gosh, we were stuck on lockdown and people had to wear masks and there was a lot of finger pointing, but missing out on some of the positives that you saw how people work together. And I mean, when COVID first happened, people were dropping masks off at the hospital, people were dropping meals off. You really could see how the community came together to work. So there's some positives and negatives there. Personalizing things. When something bad occurs, you automatically blame yourself. And that could be, an example might be that something got canceled and you think, oh, it's because they didn't want to be with me. And it may have nothing to do with you, but you're taking it personally. Catastrophizing, that would be anticipating the worst without the facts that the worst will happen. So you could spend a lot of time worrying about what might happen and that doesn't even happen. And then again, blaming someone else is responsible. All of that isn't super helpful. It can make you more stressed out. So you can learn to turn some of these negative thoughts into positive thinking and lower stress. So you might find areas that need to change. Perhaps work is stressful or your commute's long, or relationships. What can you do to change those? Check in with yourself during the day to see if your thoughts are positive or negative. If you notice you're quite negative, try to put a positive spin on them. Look for the good in a situation. Be open to humor and give yourself permission to smile or laugh. Laughter lowers stress. So even if it's like unbelievable, sometimes you'll just laugh. Like we do that. Sometimes we'll be on the phone trying to get stuff authorized with insurance companies and you're on hold 25, 35 minutes, you get transferred to someone and the line goes dead. Well, you could be super frustrated or you could just laugh and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this just happened and now I have to call them again. So it is kind of funny in a sad kind of way. And then really choosing to follow a healthy lifestyle. Make sure you're getting that exercise, get enough sleep, eat well. And sleep is so important, and it's really easy to miss out on sleep because of spending too much time on social media, Netflix, watching stuff on TV. Really protect your sleep. That will make a huge difference in lowering stress, giving you that restorative sleep you need. And if you need to set boundaries or work on sleep hygiene, it's worth doing because it makes you feel way better when you're not tired. Other things you can do is aim to be around positive people. If you find you're around really negative people, they can bring you down. So you might want to look for a circle that lifts you up. Practice positive self-talk. You don't have to say anything about yourself that you wouldn't say to anyone else. And I know for me, I was very negative, especially when I was heavy. I had all this judgmental, fat girl thinking. I wasn't nice to myself at all. So you get to be gentle and encourage yourself as you would a small child or a loving, nurturing relationship. And if you catch a negative thought, respond with a positive affirmation about what's good about you. Because you may say, well, that could be true, but this is also true. So just notice that and practice. And again, it's practice. So you may not be perfect. Those negative thoughts may kick in, but that's where things like journaling and writing can really help. And then practicing gratitude can help you see the goodness. What are you grateful for? What are 3 things that happened today that you're happy for? And it doesn't have to be a lot. It may be I saw a beautiful ball of sweet peas growing in my neighbor's garden. I saw a hummingbird and I heard some birds and I saw someone hold a door for someone today and be kind. And that can be things. It doesn't have to be a lot. Here's some more examples of how would you turn some negatives into positives. Some of the negative thought, we could say, oh, I haven't done that before, or it's too hard. Your positive thought would be, well, it's an opportunity to learn something new, or it might be hard, but it could be fun as well. It's too complicated. You might say, I'll tackle it from a different angle. I don't have the resources. Necessity is the mother of invention, or I bet I'll figure out how to do it. Saying, I'm too lazy to get this done. It's like I couldn't fit it into my schedule, but I can re-examine my priorities. There's no way it will work. I can try to make it work. It's too radical of a change. Let's take a chance. I'm not going to get any better at this. I'll give it another try. So again, we have these little running dialogues in our head, and noticing them and changing them can really help lower your stress level and help you believe in yourself. Social support is a great way to manage stress as well. Studies show that giving and receiving support can lower blood pressure, lower our cortisol levels, and lower our heart rate. So what do I mean by social support? Well, it could be physical or practical assistance, and could be getting help with transportation, helping someone with chores, helping with childcare, sharing information or community resources, just like the cancer support community has, where they have emotional and physiological assistance, people to help you exercise a little more, move a little more, even that psychological help and support if you need one-on-one counseling or support for your family. A sense of belonging can lower stress as well. Being in a community of people who are on a similar journey and can relate to what you're going through can be very valuable. So finding that community that understands your journey, well, you already found it. So bringing a friend and using the resources here can really benefit you and help lower that stress and keep you filled up for this journey. For many people navigating cancer, it can be a very stressful time. And sometimes family and friends may not understand everything you're going through, but this community does, and you can use it and benefit from it. And many people also volunteer and mentor and help the newer diagnosed people. So I see it myself where our mentors reach out to new cancer people and help them get a sense of what to expect. And it really takes that layer of the fear of unknown and stress away from people. So you can give back and both people feel good. The mentor feels good because they're able to help. The mentee feels good because they're getting information. So it's a win-win situation for people. So what are some coping strategies? Well, there's several different kinds. You have problem-focused coping, emotional-focused coping, and acceptance-focused coping. And we'll dive in a little bit on the next couple of slides. So problem-focused coping is looking for targeting the cause of stress in a practical way and tackles that problem that's causing the stress. So for example, if you were feeling lonely, you could join a group and make new friends, and then the loneliness would go away. Or if you're finding that work is really stressful, you might look at ways to set stronger work-life boundaries, or even consider looking for a new job. There's 9 problem-focused coping techniques. One would be asking for support, setting boundaries, leaving an unhealthy situation, time management, like we talked about, and prioritizing things, just getting going and tackling the problem instead of putting it off. Sometimes just taking it care of. Have you ever had that conversation you put off and not want it to have? Sometimes just getting it out of the way, whether the outcome is good or bad, at least it's done and you don't have to spend days and days and lose sleep over dealing with it. Talking to a counselor, eliminating what you don't need, simplifying. So we have a lot of stuff, and all of that stuff takes energy. So as you give away the things you no longer need, it opens up space and room in your life for things to flow in. Changing those false beliefs that you notice, finding the positive one, and lowering your expectations. If you're expecting everyone to be a perfectionist, you might be disappointed. Maybe good enough is good enough. So that's the problem-focused coping. Then you have the emotional focused coping. And this is where you try to reduce your negative responses with stress. So emotions such as embarrassment, fear, anxiety, depression, frustration are all reduced or removed through various methods of coping. So we touched on it a little bit with our breathing technique, but meditation can allow the body to relax and reverse the stress response. So taking the deep breaths, spending some time in meditation. Journaling is an excellent way too. You can just have a brain dump or a download and just write and get everything out of your brain. Notice the emotions, even notice what you write, what's true, what's not true, and circle it. You can brainstorm and work on more positive thoughts. Reframing is another powerful technique. You can notice your thoughts, ask yourself, are they true? Challenge them. And if they're negative, work on replacing that thought. Cognitive distortion is another way, irrational thinking patterns that can increase our stress. And you could be led to make conclusions based on emotion instead of fact. So you might think, oh, they didn't call, they don't like me. And truly, they forgot to call or got busy and didn't call. So sometimes finding out the facts instead of jumping to conclusions can be a big tool. And then we talked again about positive thinking. So again, that can be a huge help as well. And then finally, the acceptance focused coping. It's not a passive process. It is not simply giving up or tolerating things. Acceptance is acknowledging that something is what it is. It's happened and we can't change it. And I see this a lot in cancer patients where rather than a lot of anger, and there may be some anger and disappointment at first going through the diagnosis, but then when acceptance comes, that can often lower stress. It's like, well, this happened. I don't know why it happened. I can't change that it happened. Or sometimes it may be that things weren't found right away and it took a while to even get diagnosed. And it could be like, well, if they found this 6 months ago and things might be different. And that creates a lot of stress, but just like, well, they found it when they found it and that can't be changed. So I'm here. And what can I do from now moving forward? So that can really be beneficial. One of the best ways to reduce stress and diffuse a situation is to simply accept it. Accept the environment you're in. This could be in traffic even. If you're getting stressed out, like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in traffic. It's like, yes, there's traffic here. It's happening. I'm not happy about it, but I'm in it. And notice the stress and realize, well, is it worth getting stressed out about? And what can I make a positive? And for me, if I'm in the car and I want to be somewhere else, is there a podcast I can listen to? Is there some music I can listen to? Is there a person I can call to make it a better situation? So just accepting that, okay, my flight's delayed and I'm not going to get there in time, or I'm going to miss my connection. It's like, well, it is what it is. This has happened to us on trips where it's like, well, we got stuck in London. Well, what can we do in London? Well, it turned into fun. We ended up taking the train, having dinner, staying overnight, and leaving the next day. Granted, in the minute, it's sort of stressful, but then we're like, well, our connection we didn't make, and now we're here, and there's no flight, so you make the best of it. So acceptance works to reduce stress because it helps manage your emotions. Same, I have a lot of travel ones. Suitcase doesn't come. We were away and didn't get our luggage. So it's like, well, now we get to go shopping and buy a few things until our luggage arrives. And you can be really stressed out about it, or, oh, this is an adventure and next time I'll pack a little more in a carry-on. But accepting can help you enjoy a situation as well. So having a plan for managing stress can be helpful. And one way is to first check in with yourself. And I like this stressometer to measure stress, kind of like the pain scale on a scale of 1 to 10, where does your stress fall? And you can do this several times a day. Are you in the lower stress area, low level of stress, feeling relaxed? Are you in the yellow zone, moderate stress, where you're moderate stress is optimal. Like some stress is good because it gets you to function, but staying in this state for more than 4 to 8 hours can really build up fatigue and other physical symptoms. And then if you're in this high stress, like the 8 to 10 range, that can change your behavior and stress reduction is required. So if you notice you're like up there at 8, 9, 10, if you're at work, that might be a sign that I need to get away from my desk, go outside, take some breaths, get myself down to a 4 or 5. And if you're home and in that range, you really need to do something to bring that level down. Could be breathing, could be another outlet to get that stress down. And then identifying stressors. So one way to identify your trigger is completing sentences. And this is good if you're journaling. I become overwhelmed when. It could be when people are late, when I have too much to do, when I feel like I'm not going to get everything done, when I feel like I'm going to let someone down, when I feel like someone will be disappointed. at work, I wish people would. It could be do their job or do what they say they're going to do, or be, kind or punctual, whatever it is. You can write a whole list. I think it is rude to, it could be cut people off when they're talking, or not say thank you. You can have a whole list of things that bother you. And notice your physical health. Do certain environments make your stomach drop, your hands get sweaty, or your mind begin to race? Think about workplace. How do you feel when you're logging into work or walking into your workplace? Are you happy to be there, or do you dread how long you have to work and all your responsibilities? And then check out your personal life as well. Did you move recently? Are you dealing with health issues or caring for a family member? For me, it was caring for the family member that unpredictable times the phone would ring and they're telling me, oh, your mom won't get out of the shower, or she won't eat, or she tried to escape to go to the bank, and feeling helpless. Sometimes that can really make you stressful. Going through a divorce or a change in a relationship, a layoff, a hardship, some of these things are temporary stressors. And this is a big one. And I actually had to put myself on a news holiday. I used to listen to the news on the way to work. And I realized it was starting my day off and getting me stressed out. So I don't listen to that anymore. But flipping through the news, you can hear all the bad news, the shooting, the economy, civil unrest, war. And then you just start to think everything is horrible. So I think monitoring what you're letting in. Are you on Fox or CNN all day, hearing all the sensational stories? That can really impact you and make you feel negative. There's that saying, if it bleeds, it leads, and they're looking for stories to hook you. So be very careful with what you fill your brain with. There's a lot of good out there, but it doesn't always make the news. And then a realistic plan of action. We talked about managing your time, making a schedule, and finding ways to cope through either journaling or meditation. See what you've been doing up until now to deal with stress, and what might you be able to adopt or try. And it could be, I'm just going to make sure I do deep breathing 2 or 3 times a day. Take good care of yourself. Get that good sleep, 7 to 9 hours of restorative sleep. Eat well, lean towards that Mediterranean diet, hydrate, and move your body. Notice your thoughts and try new ways of thinking. Once you notice a negative thought, think of something else. Speak up, be proactive, and no need to be a people pleaser. You can say no, and you can do the things that are important for you. And ask for help. Again, there's peer-to-peer counseling and one-on-one counseling available through the cancer support community. So you are not alone, and there's support and services available for you. And if you've tried all these and you're still feeling very stressed out, seeking professional help is not a sign of weakness. You can reach out to a therapist and do some cognitive behavioral therapy to help you. Things like mindfulness, meditation, yoga, and prayer are always good choices. Getting that sleep, gentle exercise, connecting with friends can all help you lower stress. And that is my presentation. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm also happy to talk to anybody. If you want to email or call me, I'm happy to talk to you offline. And